Hello friends, welcome to this new video on China-Japan relations during the rule of Xi Jinping and Shinzo Abe. So today I will be doing a detailed analysis and it will be going to be a very interesting analysis. So I hope you will like the video. So let's get started. So first let's look into the overview, what all we will cover, the flow which we will be following in this video. So first we will be starting with the assassination of Shinzo Abe, the former Prime Minister of Japan. So we already know on 8th of July 2022. So Shinzo Abe got assassinated. So we will discuss on that. Then we will uh, discuss on Chinese President Xi Jinping offered condolences over death of Japan's former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. So definitely that we will discuss. Then we will also discuss Chinese government reaction. So Chinese government is shocked by Shinzo Abe's death. So we will discuss its reaction, and also after that Chinese social media reactions on Shinzo Abe's death. So that we will discuss. Then the last two part of the video will be very interesting. So we will be discussing China-Japan historic relations. So you will get to you will get some very interesting insights about China-Japan historic relations, and at the last we will be discussing Shinzo Abe's relations with China. So so definitely it will be going to be a very exciting analysis. So let's get started. So let's start with the assassination of Shinzo Abe. So we have already seen on the morning of 8th of July 2022, Shinzo Abe was campaigning at a local political event for his former party, that is Liberal Democratic Party, and he was campaigning in a road junction in the southern city of Nara for the upcoming parliamentary election, which will be held on 10th of July 2022. So definitely Shinzo Abe was campaigning, and at 10:30 a.m. local Japanese time, or 8 a.m. Indian Standard Time, morning 8 a.m. Shots rang out, and 67-year-old Shinzo Abe was shot twice from the behind. So as you can see in the picture, so you can see a red mark on a person. So he is the shooter. So his name is Tetsuya Yamagami. So he is a 41-year-old Nara resident gunman. So he shooted from the back, and Tetsuya Yamagami served Japanese that Navy also, and he was into active service till 2005. So yes, and after 4 hours of treatment in the hospital, that is Nara Medical University Hospital, Abe was pronounced dead at 17:03. That is the local time, or according to the Indian Standard Time, it is afternoon 1:33 p.m. So Shinzo Abe was announced that. So I can understand it is a very disheartening news for all of us, shocking news for all of us. But what we can do, yeah. So this was all about the assassination of Shinzo Abe. Now let's jump into the next part of the video, that is Chinese President Xi Jinping offered condolences. Yeah. So Chinese President Xi Jinping on 9th of July, so the next day, 2022, sent a message of condolence to current Japanese Prime Minister, that is Fumio Kishida, on the passing of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. So Xi Jinping said I am deeply saddened by his sudden passing. Yes, and also separately, Xi Jinping and his wife Peng Liyuan sent a message of condolence to Abe's wife, uh, that is Eki Abe. Yeah. So we can see that that Xi Jinping and Shinzo Abe have some family relations also. Means because they are exchanging condolences. Xi Jinping's wife is exchanging condolence to Abe's wife. So we can clearly see the family relations also, family ties also. So Xi Jinping and Shinzo Abe had good relations from the observation. And also, Xi Jinping extended deep condolences on the sudden and unfortunate death of Abe on behalf of the Chinese government and people and his own name, and expressed sympathies to Abe's family. Yeah. So this is a very clearly established fact that China, especially Xi Jinping and Shinzo Abe, had family kind of a relation, a good relation they had. Xi Jinping said Abe made efforts to improve China-Japan relations when he was in office and contributed positively to this endeavor. So we will look it into a very detailed analysis. We will be doing the later part of the video. How Abe made efforts to improve China and Japan relations that we will be discussing in detail. So Xi Jinping appreciated Abe's efforts in enhancing the relations. And also the Chinese President Xi Jinping said he had reached important common understanding with Abe on building a China-Japan relationship that meets the needs of the new era. Okay, so whatever we can see the statements of the Chinese president, but two, three very important facts we have to consider. The first fact is the historic bitterness between China and Japan. You can see the war, Sino-Japanese war, and the in the World War II, what Japan did to China. So that bitterness is still there in their relation. So that we have to take into consideration, and also how Shinzo Abe openly opposed China's expansionist policies. How he openly expressed the concern about China trying to capture Taiwan, and how announced to United States to support Taiwan against China. So yeah, so this is diplomacy. So on the back, on one side uh, there is a tussle, and on the other side there is a love and exchange of good relations. So this is diplomacy. Yeah. So this was all about Chinese President Xi Jinping offering condolences. So definitely Xi Jinping appreciated Shinzo Abe's efforts in enhancing the relations, and also Xi Jinping's wife also had condolences. Now let's see what Chinese government had to say. So Chinese government is shocked by Shinzo Abe's death. So Xi Jinping said he is ready to work with the current Prime Minister, that is Kishida, to continue to develop a China-Japan relationship of good neighborliness, friendship, and cooperation in accordance with the principles of four China-Japan political documents. So Xi Jinping is very much excited to work with the current Prime Minister of Japan to further take these relations to new level. Yeah, and also Xi Jinping. Okay, so Xi's public tribute to the former Prime Minister lagged behind multiple other world leaders. So we have already seen Xi Jinping paid tribute on the next day of his assassination, of the assassination of Abe. Uh, Whereas all other prominent leaders, they paid tribute on the same day. So Xi Jinping lagged one day behind from the observation. You can see that. And also Chinese Foreign Ministry. So China is shocked by Abe's sudden death. Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijian said on 8th July 2022, the day of the assassination, condoling the demise of the former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. So this we can see. Yeah. So definitely Chinese government is also shocked by Shinzo Abe's death, but Chinese government is quite excited and with a very positive mindset. They are willing to work with the current Prime Minister of Japan, Kishida, to take the relations to the next level. So this we can very easily analyze from the statements and the whatever statements from the either the Chinese president and Chinese foreign minister. So this analysis also very clear to us. Now let us look into the Chinese social media reactions on Shinzo Abe's death. So here there is a twist. So Chinese social media was full of shitty things against Shinzo Abe. Here are some of the snippets which I am sharing with you. So you can see from the image. So there is a statement, there is a comment called "Was he killed?" Means from this statement we can clearly analyze that they were waiting for such kind of an incident. Was he killed? Okay, and who was the anti-Japanese hero? Lots of laughter and pot shots were taken at the incident. And do we know who the killer is? I want to send him some money. Yeah. So see, definitely, it is a very clear fact that lots of Chinese have bitterness against Japanese because what Japan did in the history is terrible. Uh, so in the Sino-Japanese war, Japan literally killed millions of Chinese. So that very soon will prove that also. So it is a history. So we can't change that. So whatever has happened, I am just telling that. So millions of Chinese were tortured. In fact, not tortured; they were killed by Japan in the war. So that's why bitterness continues until now. So that we can see from the social media reaction. So many of the Chinese are happy with this event, and it is clearly showing the guilt and bitterness and the that revenge. Also, you can say that. Yeah. So now, before moving into the China-Japan relations, so let us recall whatever we have analyzed until now. So we have seen that Chinese government is so especially Chinese President Xi Jinping had a family kind of a relation with Shinzo Abe because the wife of Chinese President also gave condolences to the wife of Shinzo Abe, and Chinese President appreciated Shinzo Abe's efforts, and he in fact paid tribute to Shinzo Abe, and also Chinese ministry, Chinese government paid tribute to Shinzo Abe, and they are looking forward to work with the current prime minister. So this is very clear, and but some of the people are not happy, and so that's why we have seen from the social media reaction that analysis. Have done. Now let's look into the next part of the video. So that is China-Japan relations. Very interesting. So as we have already seen, I have told you. So let us dig deep into that. China and Japan fought two bitter wars. The first was the Sino-Japanese War, which took place between 1894-95. So it was in 1894-95. And the second was in the Second World War between 1934 to 45. So Japan and China had two major wars. So Sino-Japanese War and World War II. So they had a fight. So in the map you can see so China and Japan are neighbors. So if you look into the Japanese Empire, so it is having Korea, China, and you can see Taiwan also. So strategically, definitely you can see that all these countries are neighbor, and Japan is always uh, in terms of security, it is facing challenge against Korea and China. Yes, and yeah, also it was called the okay. So the first Sino-Japanese war was called the Asian Holocaust, as millions of Chinese civilians were killed. So yeah, let me show you. So you can see the picture. So sorry for the picture. It may be very uh, terrible because you can see lots of dead bodies. But what we can do, it is history. So in the first war, that is Sino-Japanese war, millions of Chinese civilians were killed by Japan. It's a fact. And also, if we look into the Second World War resulted in the Nanjing Massacre, in which thousands of Chinese were killed. What is this Nanjing Massacre? Nanjing is a city in eastern China. So Japan just raided that in the war, and uh, you can see how Japanese have that you can torturing Chinese, and they even killed thousands of Chinese. Second war. So we can see that Japan is very aggressive. So whatever we are seeing currently, but if we look into the history, Japan was very aggressive, and definitely Japan did some mischiefs, because of which US was. You can say that it had no other option rather than to drop the bombs to make Japan silent, because Japan certainly did some mischief acts, because of which it had to pay the price. So, as we can see from the history, I'm not telling anything from myself or any whatever we are seeing from the history. We are just analyzing the facts. So now I hope you got a very deep understanding, or you got a clear picture about China-Japan relations. So because of this, because of the torture killing Japan did to China, there is a bitterness between China and Japan. So China, lots of Chinese still have the bitterness. They are very angry with China, Japan. They want to take revenge. This is there still on. So this was about the history, historic relations. Apart from that, if we look more into the China-Japan relations, we can see that a territorial dispute over a group of East China Sea islands. So in the map, you can see in the China, in the east region, you just see the red mark. So there are some group of islands. So there is a tussle between Japan and China to conquer that island. So China is uh, uh, putting all its efforts to just grab those islands. So China's expansive claims over the Senkaku Island, which Beijing calls Dia, Diaoyu Islands in the East China Sea. So basically, the idea is China's expansionist policies. We already are aware of. The world is aware of how China is aggressive in the Pacific region, and how the China is aggressively trying to conquer the islands. So Japan is strictly against it, and especially Shinzo Abe openly criticized China. So that you can just turn off pages and you can see 2019, 2020, how he openly came in support of these islands, and he criticized China of their expansionist policies. So this is also one of the factors governing China-Japan relations. The the expansionist policy of China. Okay, so very interesting analysis I am doing. So despite of the bitterness, the historic war, killings, and China's expansionist policies, still, if we talk about trade, so trade didn't got affected from all this bitterness. From the graph we can see, if you look, so the x-axis is the year. So from 1998 to 2018 we did an analysis, and the y-axis is the business, the trade in billions of dollars. Dollar is United States dollars, and the orange line is Japan's import from China, and the blue line is Japan's export to China. So you can see the from the graph it is increasing, and on an average that the trade is stable, and Japan is importing a lot from China, and Japan is exporting a lot in billions of dollars. So you can see that the graph is increasing. So the trade ties are robust. So it's very strange. It's very strange. Shinzo Abe criticized China's expansionist policy. There was historic bitterness. All despite of that, we can see a very good trade between China and Japan. It is not a coincidence. It is not a normal observation. Something strange. It is a very strange observation. The trade is very promising, and also how Xi Jinping had family kind of a relations with Shinzo Abe. So these two observations are contradictory according to the how Shinzo Abe criticized China's expansionist policy and the history of China and Japan. So we have proved the robust trade ties between China and Japan, despite of all the bitterness. And also one more very interesting contradiction I want to make. Despite of all the bitterness, Japan remained the most favored tourist country for millions of Chinese who swarm Japanese cities every year. It's a fact. Millions of Chinese visit Japan to and the Japan's tourist place, and they enjoy. So this is a very strange fact. So from all these observations, we can say that if we talk about bitterness, so not all the Chinese have the bitterness. They have forgiven Japan. Only some Chinese are having bitterness, and millions of Chinese are coming to Japan. Millions is a big number. So we can see a stable relations between China and Japan. So this proves good. So this and the trade proves stable and good relations between Japan. And one more very so year 2022 is marking the 50th anniversary of normalization of diplomatic ties between the China and Japan. Yeah. So 20 so this year is the 50th anniversary of normalization of diplomatic ties. So from all these analysis, we talk about China-Japan relation. We can say that in the rule of Xi Jinping and Shinzo Abe, the relations between China and Japan have become more sweeter. It enhanced a lot. Just look at the trade. Just look at the tourism. How Chinese traveling to Japan, and look at the family ties. How so Xi Jinping and Shinzo Abe are good friends from the observation, and the relation has enhanced a lot. So these two leaders have played an instrumental role in enhancing the relations between China and Japan. And in future, since Xi Jinping is excited to work with Kishida, the current Prime Minister of Japan, we can say that the relations will become more enhanced in coming years. So from the war perspective, I hope China and Japan will not go against each other, but Taiwan is definitely Taiwan. If we talk about Taiwan, both have differences, so that differences we will see very soon. So I hope you are getting a clear insight of the relation of China and in the during the rule of Xi Jinping and Shinzo Abe. Now let's jump into the final part of the video, that is Shinzo Abe's relations with China. So here we have seen China-Japan relations in general, but here we will be specifically seeing how Shinzo Abe reacted to China and how uh, what was his mindset if we talk about China. So that we will be doing. So Shinzo Abe's relations with China. So initially, Shinzo Abe pushed forward with a policy to improve ties with China and met President Xi Jinping in 2014. So in 2014, he met during his visit to Beijing to take part in the APEC summit. So APEC summit was took place in China in 2014. So Shinzo Abe visited that summit and he personally met and many other leaders also went there and they met President Xi Jinping in Beijing. And similarly in 2019 G20 summit that you all know. So it was held in Osaka in Japan. So many leaders, so G20 means 20 country leaders, they came to Japan and they personally met Shinzo Abe. So definitely, so Shinzo Abe tried his best to uh, establish a good relations with China. So this is what Xi Jinping was appreciating. So here from the image you can see we have Xi Jinping and Shinzo Abe shaking hands at G20 Leaders Summit. Okay, 2019, very recent ticket. But later, the other side is Shinzo Abe became a vocal critic of China. So he openly criticized China, calling on Beijing to avoid antagonizing other nations and stop demanding more territory from its neighbors. So definitely, Shinzo Abe raised voice openly and criticized China against its expansionist policy. So this is evident. So this is the other side of the story. And also yeah, earlier this year, that is 2022, Shinzo Abe had said it was time for the United States to make clear that it would defend Taiwan from a Chinese invasion and ditch its long-standing strategic ambiguity. So Shinzo Abe openly criticized the United States for its strategic ambiguity. So Shinzo Abe clearly said to United States, just support Taiwan openly, just defend Taiwan openly against United States. We have to protect Taiwan. So we have seen how Taiwan uh, has become a point of difference between China and Japan. So this is a very important observation. And also, Shinzo Abe deepened the strategic partnerships with India. We all know Narendra Modi and Shinzo Abe are very good friends. Vietnam and other regional powers as well as European Union and United Kingdom. So he deepened the strategic partnerships and he upgraded Japan's own defense capabilities, especially against China. So Shinzo Abe put all his efforts. So in the figure you can see Shinzo Abe meeting with the Queen, British royal family. Yes, so this also we can see. So Shinzo Abe definitely was an international leader. He had his influence on all the major countries. So Shinzo Abe was one of the architects of the Quad. Quad, you know that United States, India, Japan, and Australia. Quad. So the alliance aimed at countering China's growing influence and military might. So Shinzo Abe was instrumental. He was one of the architects of the Quad, especially to fight against the growing influence of China and its military might and its expansionist policy. So basically, until now, we have seen that initially Shinzo Abe tried to convince to establish a very deep relations with China, but some of the policies of China uh, he was against that, especially the expansionist policy, how China was trying to influence other countries. So on that also we will make many videos on that. We will get a very clear understanding how China is influencing the world, how China is influencing the countries. So Shinzo Abe was against that, against the expansionist policy, and also the Taiwan. So Taiwan is also a very important strategic country, Taiwan, which created the differences between China and Japan. So because of which Shinzo Abe had to uh, uh, deepen the strategic partnerships with many world leaders, European, UK, India, Vietnam, and many other countries, Germany, and also he was the architect of the Quad to fight against China's expansion. And Shinzo Abe was deeply unpopular in China, as we know that not all Chinese, but some part of the Chinese were very against Shinzo Abe due to his repeated visits to the Yasukuni Shrine, a controversial memorial to Japan's war dead. So basically, during the war, definitely many Japanese also lost their life. So for them, there, there is a Yasukuni Shrine. So it is a memorial to Japan's war dead, and Shinzo Abe regularly visit that place, and China don't like it because see in the war Chinese had a terrible loss. Millions of Chinese got lost. So it was the ultimate destruction by Japan to China. So thanks for watching. I hope you got a very nice understanding, deep insight on China-Japan relation during the rule of Xi Jinping and Shinzo Abe. And please like the video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. You will get lots of insights. A very interesting insight. And if you have any special recommendation, if you want the analysis of any special topic, so do let me know in the. Okay, bye.